Detroit basketball. 6th seed, baby. 6th seed. The Detroit Pistons are now in sole possession of the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, leapfrogging the Atlanta Hawks, whom they demolished tonight. First off, I want to give a shout out to my dog, Ashton. Ashton. Y'all know him as Ashton the trainer, Kate's cousin, right? I call him AB. He was the first one to publicly say and make the claim that the Pistons were getting the 6th seed this season. And if you watched Kate on TNT the other night, he echoed the same message when Shaq asked him where the Pistons wanted to get to by the end of the season. And Kate said 6th seed or above. So obviously that they talk about these things on a regular. And to see the Pistons taking steps toward reaching that goal in such a short period of time is huge. Huge for the city, man. So shout out to my dog for always showing love, man, always supporting the city. I call him the Spike Lee of Detroit, even though he's got to chill in that Ohio State talk here in Michigan. Like, y'all won, but that's a cardinal sin here. We don't do that in Michigan, my dog. But love to Ashton, man, for always showing the love and support to a second home. So, the Pistons tonight, man, they beat the Atlanta Hawks 114-104, and they now improved to 23-21 on the regular season, and are now only a game and a half out of the 5th seed. I personally had the Pistons this season winning between 35 and 40 games. My boy King had them winning 40, which I thought was a bit much. But right now, the way the Pistons are playing, it looks like we may both be right. So a couple things. The Pistons hit a 6-year milestone tonight. They will complete the month with a 500 or better record since March of 2019. And they didn't have to do it tonight. They would have had a winning month if they just won one of their last 4 games in the month of January. The tide is turning from a league-wide and fan perception and perspective all the way to the culture and mindset of this team. This is a winning team again. They're going to have a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. We understand that, but they are not going to take steps back from a cultural standpoint. Think Detroit Lions just a few years behind. One more thing. The Pistons won 14 games total last season. They've won 13 road games already this season with half a season to go. So once again, totally different mindset, totally different team, totally different belief. This team is different. Throw last year out of the window. That is long gone. This is a new regime in the rejuvenated and revived franchise. Let's go. All right. So initial thoughts, right? So since December 1st, the Pistons are tied with the Denver Nuggets for first in the NBA in fast break points at 21 a game. So you know where I'm going, right? Tonight, I wanted to see the Pistons hit first, right? Set the tone for how the game is going to be played. Tough physical defense, transition offense, and ball and player movement. The Pistons are just better than the Hawks, point blank. And they dominated this game from beginning to end. They played the brand of basketball, and they did it for 4 quarters. That's something I always talk about. They were up 18 at halftime and 22 at the end of the 3rd quarter. And even though they only won by 10, it wasn't that close. Early this season, the Pistons will get punched in the mouth to start a game and get way behind. And then they try to get into the game and come back late. Or they do the opposite, where they would have a great first half and then let their foot off the gas and find themselves in a tight game late. Not tonight. Not tonight, man. The sense of urgency was there from beginning to end. This team is growing up very quickly. So let's get to the box. Kate had 29 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 10 turnovers again, on 12 for 19 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw line in 34 minutes. So once again, the 10 turnovers, that's a lot. And he is going to have to get those down because he has the ball in his hands so much, because his usage is so high, he's going to have a tendency to turn the ball over more. But 10 is still too much. But when you consider everything that he has to do on both ends of the floor, and the Pistons are still winning because they're still playing team basketball and they're playing tough physical defense, including Cade, I can live with it. I don't want to see 10 turnovers, but I'm looking at the totality of the game and everything that he's doing, especially with Jaden not being available. As long as more times than not he's making the right play and the team is winning as a whole, I can live with that for now. But one thing about Cade that he's really getting better with is he's playing at his own pace. He's not getting bothered nearly as much. He's not getting sped up at all. Tonight, he was really just picking the spots. When the Hawks doubled him, more times than not, he was making the right pass out of it or just splitting the defense and then making the defense choose after that. And when they didn't double, he was taking advantage of a size in the post. And the game is getting easier for him. You can see he's slowing down more and more. Not that he's having more opportunities to see different defensive schemes that are thrown his way. And defensively too, man, he was getting up in the guys, man. He plays physical D, and he's playing much better defense now without fouling. A lot of guys are, but particularly Cade tonight. Only 1 foul tonight. And he's helping the Pistons do a lot of other things too. He had a block at the rim, but he also was battling on the boards whenever the big man was guarding the perimeter. He was really fighting underneath the hoop, trying to get rebounds. And that's a big part of team defense as far as being able to finish the possession. One more thing on Cade too, I wanted to highlight this. If you watch the game closely, you can see that Cade really is a team player. There was a breakaway play after a Hawks turnover. Cade had an easy dunk if he wanted it, but he saw JD sprinting behind him. And so not only did Cade reward his big man for running the floor, but he tossed it off the glass, which doesn't count as an assist. Don't ask me why, but that does not count as an assist. But the point is, Cade cared more about getting his guy a fun play than he did getting an assist. That's going to incentivize JD even more to run the floor because Cade will find him if he does. Cade is the prototypical leader and team player. It's the little things like that that go a long way towards building chemistry and confidence in your teammates. And that's a big part of why, in the words of Shaq on TNT the other night when he was talking to Cade, he said there's a reason why Cade went numero uno and Jalen Green dos. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 3 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 turnovers on 1 for 8 shooting, 1 of 6 from 3. So Tim did not shoot the ball well tonight, but he did everything else well. Everything else well. He played really good team basketball. He really got on the boards tonight. All of our guys tonight really tried to get on the boards and help finish defensive possessions, like I mentioned earlier. And like I always say, man, Tim plays really good team defense. Even though he didn't shoot it well tonight, he didn't take a ton of shots. Only 8 in 32 minutes. I think last game he only took 4 shots in 30 minutes. So once again, his focus is not scoring the basketball. He just wants to be more so of a team player on both ends in the shooting threat. Tobias Harris had 9 points, 2 boards, 1 assist, 1 block, 1 turnover on 3 of 7 shooting, 2 or 3 from 3, 1 or 2 from the free throw line. So Tobias also had a quiet night scoring the basketball, but once again, like I mentioned with Tim Hardaway Jr., he was solid in other areas. Tobias is moving without the basketball very well these days, and I think a big part of it is just understanding his teammates offensively and what they like to get to. It seemed like every time Cade would look for his offense, when he would go to his move, as soon as Cade would pivot and pick the ball up and try to make a move, Tobias would dart to the basket to give him an outlet, just in case he needed it. And a few times, Cade dropped it right off to him because Tobias' defender fell asleep watching Cade, and now Tobias has an easy layup. So things like that, just being a safety valve or an outlet and just moving without the basketball, that's winning basketball. And defensively too, he's playing much more physical basketball, and the team as a whole is playing much more on a defensive string. It's really good to see that. As the Hawks were moving the ball, you can see the Pistons flying all over the court trying to get to the ball, and it was the right rotations. It wasn't random guys going to random players and now you got 2 players on the ball and 1 guy open. The rotations are getting better. They're understanding how to play for JB Bickerstaff. This is what I'm talking about. This is what makes me excited about this team. And this is also why I'm not in a rush to make any big splashes at the deadline, because we're seeing more and more what the ceiling for these young guys can be. So let's just pump the brakes on the trade rumors right now, because we are still seeing what we have from just the guys we have right now. Jalen Duren, 14 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 4 turnovers on 6 for 7 shooting, 2 or 2 from the free throw line in 26 minutes. So JD actually got off to a slow start in this game. He got in foul trouble early, but he did not let that take him out of the game. I have to say that. He really bounced back in that second half and locked back in and started playing solid, disciplined basketball on both ends of the court. Double-double again. And once again, man, he is locked in on the things that the Pistons need him to do, especially defensively. The past few weeks now, the effort has not been lacking at all. You can see he is bought in to what the Pistons need him to do right now. He was active on the boards. He was swatting shots. He protected the rim pretty well tonight. I have to give him credit for that. And then offensively too. The reason he's 6 for 7 is because he is getting easy shots. And the reason he's getting so many easy shots is because either in the half court, he's setting really good screens, rolling hard and getting an easy shot, or in transition, he's sprinting the floor as I mentioned. So JD should really have a lot of games like he had tonight. Maybe not 6 for 7, but he should have plus 50% field goal shooting games at least half the time, because he's going to continue to get easy opportunities as long as he does the things that we highlighted. So great game from JD tonight, man. And once again, free throws, 2 for 2. I believe over the past 5 games, he's shooting 90%. That's a far cry from the 58% he was shooting to start the season. So as a whole, across the board, you can see JD is just upping his game more and more. And that's what I've been saying all season long when he had early struggles. He's 21 years old. Every player's learning curve is different. Just because Jaden Ivey took his jump early in the season doesn't mean JD's going to take his jump early in the season. Every player is different. Circumstances are different. The positions they play are different. And for big guys, sometimes it takes longer for it to all click and come together. But it seems like patience, thankfully, is paying off for Trajan Langdon and JB Bickerstaff, because they've allowed him the opportunity to learn from his mistakes and to be able to grow naturally as a 21-year-old player. The sky really is the limit for JD. Asar Thompson had one of the best games of the season in my opinion. 16 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 steals, 1 block, 1 turnover, 7 for 9 shooting, 1 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line in 24 minutes. So once again, Ausar played the least amount of minutes of the starters at 24, but even though he didn't play a lot, he was very, very efficient in this game. But let's start with the defense. So tonight, Ausar's defensive assignment primarily was Trae Young. And I love that matchup for the Pistons. I absolutely love that matchup for the Pistons because Trae Young is very quick, but he's also short. Ausar Thompson is also very quick, and he's long. So that presents problems for a guy like Trae Young because Ausar's length just makes it more difficult for Trae. It's tougher for him to get his shot off. He has to be more careful with his passes. He has to look over his shoulder off the pick and roll because Ausar may be long enough to trail and get the block. Ausar is just a problem defensively. And tonight, for Trae, he was a problem. Only 13 points for Trae tonight. He had 9 assists, but he shot 5 for 13 from the field. 1 of 4 from 3, 2 of 4 from the free throw line in 40 minutes. So he was bothered. He was definitely bothered by the Pistons' link tonight. But there's another reason why I was happy to see Ausar guarding Trae. Even though I love Cade's progressive evolution into a true two-way player, I don't like the idea of him chasing Trae around all night, especially when he's asked to do so much offensively. In a tight fourth quarter kind of game, you want to save Cade's legs as much as possible. And even though it didn't matter tonight because this was a wire-to-wire win, in situations like that, I love having the luxury of having a guy like Ausar being able to guard on the perimeter to make it easier for other guys. But even though Trae was his main assignment, Ausar was guarding the entire Hawks team tonight, sometimes on the same possession. There was one play where he went from guarding Trae to guarding Dyson Daniels to guarding Bogdanovich, then sliding to the paint and guarding Clint Capella. Like, it was insane. He really has the ability to guard 1 through 5 in a pinch, especially against defensive-minded centers. He is such an asset to this team because he is such a connector, especially on defense, because he can cover up so many mistakes and weaknesses that you may have on that end. And that's exactly why I love the idea of him starting, because he allows you to get off to a good start defensively and be able to get out in transition and get easy shots. And that's exactly what he did all night long. Cade was finding him for outlet after outlet after outlet because the Pistons turned him over and he was getting out in the break for easy dunks. So Ausar is very, very important to this team. I would say right now he's the backbone of this defense because of everything he's able to do. And when he doesn't play, you see the difference. It's a noticeable difference defensively when he is not playing. So great game from him defensively. And then on offense, he's always moving. He's either getting downhill off a rebound, trying to get into transition, and he's moving and cutting without the ball in the half court. And that just puts so much pressure on defenses. Let's get to the bench, man. Let's start with the guy who I have been on for the last few months, Simone Fontecchio. Thank you, Simone Fontecchio. Man, tonight I saw, for the first time in a long time, the Fontecchio I've been hoping to see all season. Tonight he had 13 points, 2 boards, 2 assists, on 4 of 8 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Tonight, he played exactly how I have wanted to see him play all year. Moving without the basketball, taking 1 or 2 dribbles at most, and getting into his shooting motion for a rhythm shot. I've been saying this since November. You guys know that he's much better when he's shooting the ball in rhythm. Catch and shoot. Catch and shoot. Not catch and put the ball on the floor and try to play make. Not catch and put the ball on the floor and try to euro for a left tough shot. Catch the ball in rhythm. Get the shot up. And doesn't he just seem so much more comfortable and confident when he does that? Tonight, that's what he was doing. He was moving well without the basketball, coming off screens and getting the shot up, or he would catch it, dribble, drop it off, set a screen, flare out, open 3, swish. That's his game. That is when he is at his best. That is when he is consistently at his best. Yeah, he can do other things here and there from time to time, but what he's also going to do is turn the ball over. So I'd rather him just stick to doing what he does best. And tonight, he did exactly what he does best. So Tech 19, shout out to you, bro. You played a great game. I hope he plays this way for the rest of the season. If he plays this way for the rest of the season for this team, there's not going to be one team in the East that's going to be happy to catch us in the first round. Malik Beasley, 19 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist on 7 of 14 shooting, 5 for 11 from 3 in 23 minutes. Mr. Efficient. Mr. Efficient. At this point, we all know it's a travesty if he does not make the 3-point contest, and he needs serious consideration for 6th Man of the Year because he has been Mr. Consistent all year long for the basketball team, man. He's one of the best shooters in the league. Easy. I would say top 5, maybe even top 3. I mean, this guy just gets it done game after game after game, and he did it in 23 minutes. Once again, we say all the time, but this was by far, I believe, the biggest offseason signing in the NBA. Not for this team, not in the Eastern Conference, in the NBA. I don't know where this team would be right now without Malik Beasley, man, because he has been such a rock and a steady presence on and off the court. When K was on TNT the other night, Malik Beasley was watching it and shooting the video, just gassing him up, right? Just gassing him up. The confidence that he gives his team is invaluable. Invaluable, man. I could not be any happier to have him on my basketball team. Once again, Milwaukee, thank you very much. Marcus Sasser had 5 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 0 for 5 shooting, 0 for 4 from 3, 5 for 5 from the free throw line. So even though Sasser was cold tonight, I was happy with what I saw because he came into this game, once again, looking for his offense. First possession. And that's evident in the 5 free throws he took and made. And you can tell these guys are still learning each other. There was a play in the second quarter where Sass asked Fontecchio for a screen, and Fontecchio didn't move, so Sass signaled again. And then Fontecchio saw him, and once it registered, he sprinted over. And that's fine. That's all part of the growing process. It's going to take time. A lot of these guys have only played together for 40 or so games, yet they're still showing signs of being solid. So Sass didn't shoot it well, but he is buying in to the role consistently now that he's being asked to play. And that's all you can ask. Your shot's not always going to fall every night, but as long as you are a star in your role every single game, you give your team a really good chance to win. Last but not least, man, Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart is becoming absurd now. I honestly don't even want to read the stat line because it doesn't even begin to show the impact that he has on this team. But here it is anyway. 2 points, 12 boards, 3 assists, 3 blocks on 1 of 3 shooting in 20 minutes. First of all, how about that block? How about that block, man? Are you kidding me? Like, this is getting out of hand now. Isaiah Stewart, his timing on his contests is insane. And that wasn't the only one. He was blocking shots all game long. It's just incredible to watch someone at his size and with his athleticism be as effective as he is. What Stu does, you expect from a guy who is 6'10 or above, who can jump out the gym like a Dwight Howard. You expect that. But from a guy who's 6'8", who doesn't have nearly that type of lift or hang time, it's incredible. It is truly a testament to his film study and him working on his game and working on his timing. That is what it comes down to. When you're going up like that one-on-one with a guy trying to dunk on you, first of all, you need to know who you're jumping against. And you got to identify that in a split second. Is this a guy who is a great leaper, who can get off the ground quickly and hang in the air? Because if so, Stu may want to take off after he does. So that way he can meet him at the pinnacle and not come down while the offensive guy is still going up. That takes a lot of film study. That takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of reps. And that's what Isaiah Stewart has become. He may not have the highest ceiling in the world, but I can guarantee you he is going to come as close as possible to hitting that ceiling because he's a worker and he's always going to continue to work on his game. I mentioned earlier that JD got in foul trouble early in this game. When Stu comes into the game, I don't think I felt this comfortable with the backup coming into the game for a starter since Corliss Williamson used to routinely come in the game for Tayshaun Prince. If you know, you know. Isaiah Stewart is very steady, very reliable. He rarely has bad games because his effectiveness is based around his style of play. And because that physical, high motor, defensively sound style of play is what he is at his core, he's always going to be consistent because that's all he knows how to be. He's going to be on this team for a long time, guys. He's going to be on this team for a long time because he is the embodiment, he is the heart and soul of what this team is at its core. Let me ask you guys a question. When was the last time you can recall when the Pistons were on the road and the crowd was booing the home team? That's what happened tonight. The Pistons pretty much ran the Hawks out of their own building. Yeah, they made it interesting late in the game when the game was over and decided. But this game, early in the fourth quarter, the Pistons were up by 20 points and they were rolling. And by that time, if you looked in the arena, you could see plenty of Hawks fans that already headed for the exits. This team is on its way, guys. This Pistons team has officially bought in. They're not perfect, and there's plenty of room to improve, but they're locked in and they believe. It's early, but you can see that these current Pistons have been watching the teams before them. In this game, I peeped Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren doing the famous Ben and Rasheed arm lock. It nearly brought a tear to my eye. The Pistons are trying to embody that culture, that mindset, because they won a championship and they helped the Pistons contend for many more. And here's the crazy part. Just wait until Jaden comes back. But what did you guys see in tonight's game that I may have missed? Let's talk about it. Appreciate you hanging with your boy. And as always, Detroit versus everybody. Peace.
Rewind 2021. There was a parade in my city. #1 pick, dancing in the street. Everybody was hitting the grid. Kid arrived in the D, and it was live as can be. They can ball, but we didn't want Green, Mobley, or Scotty B. No shade. When he got hurt, everyone lost it. Storylines leaking, no faucet. Caught him wash when he broke his tibia. All the haters, time to get it ready, yeah. Everybody wanna be Skip Bayless. Wanna throw shade, okay, say less. Dudes went #1 for a reason. It'll click by the end of the season. When he wins most improved player. Gonna be a movie, here's the trailer. Don't say I didn't try to warn ya. Co-signed by Win Benyama.
Cade Cunningham.
He was raised a Texan, but now he's Detroit flexing. Team USA, he was killing them. Got him effed up, let me quote Eminem. Nowadays, everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. That's a bunch of gibberish and money lovers act like they forgot about Cade. Nowadays, everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. That's a bunch of gibberish and money lovers act like they forgot about Cade.
Forgot about Cade, they forgot about Cade. Forgot about, how you forget about Cade?